All right. Hey, what's going on, MJ? Let's get right into it. What's going on, Vikings fans? Welcome back to the Purple and Gold Bar Show. Today we got our Week 9 picks show. We're going to be going through all the games. I'm sorry I wasn't able to come do it yesterday. I got held up with outreach last night, so I wasn't able to get back in time. So some things ran late at the church, and I just had to. I was just busy, and other things are definitely slightly more important. Not that this isn't important to me. It's just priorities. You know what I mean. But thank you so much for joining me, guys. We are back at it. I am your host, Purple and Gold Bars, aka Mr. AI Man 3000, aka Mr. At your service, guys. And I wanted to start off by thanking everybody for continuing to hang out and touch base with me, letting me know in the comments what you guys think, as well as just hanging out. Even if you're not talking and you're just lurking, it doesn't matter to me. I still appreciate every single one of you guys. So again, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. We are on the road to 500 subscribers, and we're going to be there by the end of the calendar year. But let's dive into it. Let's get the show intro going, and we're going right into these games. Hey, all right, that music is probably a little bit high, but hopefully you guys still were able to hear me through the background music. But let's get right into it with no further ado. We gotta get through this, right? The games start tonight, so we got to figure it out. Here we go, guys. So we're starting with tonight's game, Thursday night's game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Miami Dolphins. Two teams that are in a similar position, but due to different circumstances. We got Lamar Jackson and him being injured being the reason why the Ravens have struggled and are now 2-5 at this point in the season. And the Dolphins, it's more of a collective dysfunction that's going on there. Sometimes they play well, sometimes they play bad, sometimes they just can't seem to get it together. So it's going to be an interesting game today. Lamar Jackson is expected to play, from what I understand. Last I checked his injury status and whatnot, so it looks like he will be starting. Now, I'm going to take that same logic as last week, where I feel like we're not going to get the full Lamar Jackson experience this week because he is coming off that injury. I doubt he wants to re-aggravate himself and make the rest of the season harder. So I imagine him being more of a pocket passer and throwing the ball away when needed. And the threat from the run will solely come from Derrick Henry. I know that once Lamar is at quarterback, it's a lot harder to commit 8, 9, 10 players in the box. So Derrick Henry might have a big game today. And so I'm excited to see what the offensive coordinator and Lamar Jackson have come up with this week in their game plan, because I am truly in awe, one, at the athleticism and the athlete that Lamar Jackson is. Let's be real, 1,000%. He is one of my favorite players. I'm not going to deny that. But I do understand his weaknesses and his downfalls. So that's why I say I'm in awe at what their offensive coordinators have been able to do. And in recent years, their newest one, right, that's kind of stuck around a little bit, because they have such a good way of creating plays that lean to his strengths and avoid his weaknesses, right? So I'm excited to see how that's going to all play in today. I'm assuming there's going to be a lot less scrambling from Lamar and more likely just throwing the ball away with enough time, because he cannot take an injury, re-injure that hamstring as well as, or take a different injury. So I think he's going to be very, very cognizant of that today. And then when we're looking at the Dolphins, right, they're definitely been up and down. So they can put up some points here and there, and sometimes they've struggled quite a bit, right? Now, the Ravens defense isn't known as the big defensive juggernaut this season. So we might see a little bit of some, points production from the Dolphins here. Now, with all that being said, I feel like this game is going to be a little bit closer than a lot of people would expect. But I feel like with Lamar coming back and it alleviating a lot of the pressure on the rest of the team, I think the Ravens will just have a little bit more available to them to overcome. That's not saying that the Dolphins don't have a lot of weapons and possibilities to go off, because we've seen them do so. But I'm saying is that this is going to be a close game, and I imagine, a 3-point, maybe a one, essentially a one-score game, going in the way of the Ravens. I'm going to say they're going to win by 7 points tonight. So give me the Baltimore Ravens in a 7-point win today on Amazon Prime, Thursday Night Football. Moving on to the Bears and the Bengals. Ooh, this is an interesting one, because there's a lot of heat, a lot of naysaying, a lot of negativity coming around from the sports pundits. I know Colin Cowherd has been basically a lot of pundits have been negative on the on Caleb Williams and the Bears. And a lot of people are saying, oh, he should be benched and let's move on. He's a bust, stuff like that. The same logic that I have with my team is that we don't really know what they're made of until they've actually had significant time to face adversity and overcome. Caleb has basically reset this second season, so it's not exactly like it's his first year in the league, but he's got a new coordinator, a new philosophy, and he's going to have to adjust, right? So the Caleb Williams that we saw last year isn't the Caleb Williams that we're seeing this year for the most part. I know he's making some of the same mistakes at times, but it's just the Caleb Williams that's trying to digest and learn how to work within the Ben Johnson system. Now, will it turn out to be a prolific offense in the upcoming future, in the next couple of years? Can it develop into that? Absolutely. It could possibly be that. Could they also fall apart, and as the adversity hits, things just not go their way and they have to move on either from their coach or their quarterback? That is also a possibility. I think it's just a little bit too soon to judge. I think a lot of people maybe had set really high expectations for the Bears because of some of their wins that they've had this year and where they've looked very, very good. Let's call a spade, and let's remain objective, right? I know I'm a Vikings fan, so my natural inclination is to just downplay anything that's going on with any NFC North Division opponent and trash talk whenever the case may be. But that's not what I like to do here. I try to be as objective and optimistic for every single team, regardless of what the narrative is, the media bias, or even the fan base bias. Because I understand, Nick over at Just Another Year Chicago Bears, I really like his content. I like him as a person. I watch his videos, and he keeps me informed of what's going on with the Bears, and I see how they react in the comments. So I understand the validity of what's going on over there. Now, switching gears over to the Bengals, they're in a similar situation, right? They were really downtrodden to start the season. Joe Burrow gets injured in the first game, and then all of a sudden it just seems like they're going to spiral out of control and they're going to be vying for the first pick of the draft. And then I think, in my opinion, that the Bears were being the Browns were being a little bit petty and maybe a little bit calculated on trying to take down other teams in in their division in order for them to still have a chance, because I feel like they think that they can win a good amount of games, and if the rest of the AFC North, if I'm not mistaken, if they don't win as many games, they might have a chance at competing at the end of the season. So I understand the pettiness that comes from trading Joe Flacco to the Bengals so they can kind of, stick it to the Steelers, and they did. So, mission accomplished, I guess, in one sense. And it's kind of opened the door a little bit for the Browns. If they can get their situation figured out and they can find some consistency, because that defense is no joke. They're going to keep them in games. And if they can find a way to score more than 9, 10, 14 points, they could very well string together a good amount of wins to make it a race at the end, which I think that's what they were trying to do with that trade. So last week they come off an embarrassing loss to the New York Jets, which is it's part of this ongoing season, which I'm truly loving, because as a football fan first, it's incredible to watch these upsets and the up and downs, and how there's no strong foothold by any team as the front runner. So I definitely want to. Yeah, what? The Dodgers, lefty? I don't think so, brother. It's coming home. We got 2 chances. We're gonna take it. What's going on, Miss Eric? Thank you so much for joining me today. But yes, so it's a very interesting matchup between the Bears and the Bengals, because they're in a state of turmoil. You know, a bad loss after they thought maybe they had righted the ship, and they're like, oh, we got Joe Flacco. And now, you know, the Bears are coming in after a embarrassing loss to a team that most people, including myself, picked to. No, I picked the Bears to win, actually. So, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, including myself, that picked them to win, and they lost, right? So, very interesting to see Tyler Huntley outduel Caleb Williams, right? So, I think both teams are going to come in with something to prove. I think this game's going to be a lot closer than people want to give credit to. I know both defenses have had their moments, but I can definitely say that the Bengals defense struggled a lot more than the Bears defense this year. So, with everything being said, I feel like this game is more of a coin flip than anybody's going to give credit. I know a lot of people are going to go, we saw what the Bengals are last week, so they're going to lose to the Bears this week. So, I'm not entirely sure. They got the home field advantage. They got Joe Flacco willing to throw the ball everywhere and play backyard football. That's always going to be dangerous. They put up a ton of points, even though in that loss, right? And if the Bears can't get their offensive woes together, are they going to be able to put up 30 points, 27 points to keep up with this potential Bengals offense, right? So I feel like it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a close game. And I live and die by the sort of probabilities, and I feel like it's a 50-50 here. So I'm going to have to make a judgment here, a guess here. And I'm going to take the Bengals in an upset win here at home. I think their crowd's going to give them a lot of that boost that they need. And, yeah, so that's where I'm going to go. Give me the Bengals in a 3-point win, walk-off field goal. Moving on to the game that a lot of Vikings fans are probably have been dreading or whatever, but I've just been happy and looking forward to this game, because it's a measuring stick for us. Because let's be real, if you had realistic expectations this season, I don't think you should have put ourselves higher than maybe squeezing into the playoffs and coming away with a playoff loss. And ideally, that being with JJ under center, giving him some experience to make that second-year step that we like to see rookie quarterbacks do, a la Drake May. So our Minnesota Vikings are banged up. Our O-line is dealing with some things. It's going to be slightly it's going to be better than last week, but it's not going to be top tier or what we expected going into the season. So I think there's going to be a little bit of struggles on our offensive side, of course. Now, mind you, the Lions defense is really banged up. And so that might open us up to, maybe being able to put somewhere between 10, 12, 14, maybe even 17 points up. I think that our likelihood of being able to put points in that range is pretty good. Now, when we look at the Lions and what they're going to be able to do, it's obvious. They're easily going to be able to outduel us if we try to match it up offense versus offense, right? So I anticipate them putting up anywhere from 24 to 30 plus points. Let's be real. They got a high-powered offense, and they're at home. It's going to be quite the task. I expect. When I'm looking at this game as a Vikings fan, I really just want to see growth, potential, some flashes here and there, and looking to see if there's things that, to gain some comfort in, and to keep rolling with the faith that I have in this team, that I put them on as a team that's going to be showing a lot of flashes and not doing and a lot of growing pains. I anticipated that the strength of the roster could elevate past J.J. McCarthy's growing pains and, come away with on the high side 12 wins, on the low side 9 wins, because of the quality of the roster and the talent we have. So now that's changed, because we've had a whole bunch of injuries to the O-line and whatnot, and quarterback controversy. Well, not really controversy, but injuries to the quarterback, and Carson Wentz being a freaking absolute dog and just being a freaking hero for this Minnesota Vikings team, and especially for our young quarterbacks, basically being that shield for them. And as a result, for everything that he gave, his health and everything included, we are now moving on the rest of the season with both of our young quarterbacks. One is our starter and one is our backup that are more or less 100% healthy, right? I know there might be a little bit of issue with JJ, but I feel like he's going to have, he's closest to 100% that he's ever going to be the rest of the season, because it is that the nature of the game. So again, with everything being said, I think it's going to be a fun game to watch, especially if you're looking for the right things, for looking for signs of potential growth in the future and improvement, flashes. I hope we see some good flashes, some nice plays from JJ. But I have the Detroit Lions winning this one in most likely a 2-score game. But like I said, I can imagine our Vikings putting anywhere between 9 to 17 points if everything goes well. So let's move on to the next game. We got the Carolina Panthers versus the Green Bay Packers at home. The Panthers have showed some things this year, but they've shown some good things and they've shown some bad things. They've got an incredible running attack, and but with Andy Dalton, it's just not the same, right? I don't think Bryce Young, from what I understand so far, I know he returned to practice this week, so I don't think he's going to be ready to go for the games where we're probably going to see the Red Rifle go. And as a result, I feel like that takes, the top off this team. So it's going to be. If they win this game, it's going to be through the back of Rico Dowdle and their running game, making it where they're just running hard, putting up scores, and just running the clock on them and not letting Jordan Love be on the field enough for him to beat them, essentially. But that is an extremely small chance. But so when I look at the Green Bay Packers, I feel like they're still a bit of a flawed team. They have some things that they're working on, but the one thing they can do is score points. And as long as Jordan Love doesn't make a rookie mistake or a backup mistake by throwing interceptions on third down and off the back foot under pressure, panicking, they can definitely run away with this game. So I think this is going to come down to a 2-score game for the Packers. So give me the Packers in a 2-score game. Moving on to the Broncos versus the Texans. Ooh, a couple weeks ago, this would have looked like a freaking just stomping when you look at the Broncos taking on the Texans, right? Broncos have been looking really, really good. They're 6-2, so they've gotten a bunch of wins. Bo Nix has looked, like he's had a little bit of a sophomore slump, but he's working through it, and he's had some moments where he has definitely reminded people that he still has the potential to become a very, very good quarterback in this league. The Houston Texans came alive last week with a massive win, defensive. There was moments where C.J. Stroud looked like year one C.J. Stroud. Like the things that have been plaguing his mind weren't there. I don't know if it was a thing of confidence or maybe he's turned the corner mentally. I'm not sure. It was nice to see, though. So it's going to be a great game. I just think that there's going to be too much problems for this Houston Texans offense when it comes to what this Broncos defense can do. They are stout. They can win you almost single-handedly win you games. They are that good. They can make it so that Bo Nix can have 6, 7, 8 drives to get the points up instead of and limit the other team from doing anything in that time frame while he does get things going. So this defense is an example of why people say, championships win, or defense wins championships. Duh. So I feel like it's going to be a great game regardless. I don't think it's going to be a blow up by any means like I would have anticipated maybe or would have thought 2 weeks ago, for example. I think the Texans will definitely put up a lot of fight in this game. I don't think it's going to be a massively high-scoring game. I can imagine the Broncos putting up anywhere between 20 to 30 points, maybe, let's say 24. And I think the Texans somewhere in that 14 to 20. So It's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a lot better than people will want to give credit to before the game. But after the game, I think people are going to be like, wow, that was actually a pretty darn good game. So give me the Broncos in a 4-point win or 3-point win against the Texans in a hard fought game. Then we have the Falcons traveling to Foxborough, taking on the New England Patriots. That man, man, when I'm right, I'm right. I said that these Patriots, as well as the Giants, we're gonna turn some heads this season. I wasn't sure if it was gonna reflect in the record, but I felt like they were gonna be doing a lot of good things. One, because I believe in Mike Vrabel. And my pick for him being the coach of the year is looking better and better every single week that goes by. Now, the Falcons. They are definitely in the same boat as us, a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde style team, where some weeks they look great, some weeks they look horrible. 30-0 to the Panthers. Woo-wee. That is rough. But then you have them coming out and beating the Bills. And I get it. They have a great rushing tandem in Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson. Absolutely great running backs, and I love the way that they run. So this is it's going to be a bit of a challenge for the Patriots, because if the Falcons are on and they have one of their Dr. Jekyll games, it might be very difficult for these Patriots. But then I think to myself, hey, the Patriots faced one of the best defenses in the league last week, and they still put up, I think, 33 on them. So although the Falcons' defense is good, I don't think it's that good. Now, they have a unique, a different task, because the Falcons do have the potential of being able to put up points, unlike the Browns. So I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but give me the Patriots in a 7-point win, 27-20. All right, moving on to the 49ers versus the Giants. Ooh, man, I really want to pick my one of my favorite teams here. The Giants. It's no secret that I think they're. I really like them because they remind me of the team that we were in between Mike Zimmer and KOC, where we went through Pat Shurmur and Kevin Stefanski, and we were just directionless. Our coaching staff was horrendous, and we're a lot of raw talent with nothing else, right? And I saw that in the Giants last year, and I see them progressing further towards becoming a good team over the next couple of years. They've shown some stuff this year. They beat the Chargers before they were really hammered with injuries. And then they also dog walked the Eagles. Now, last week, I thought the Eagles and Giants game was going to be a lot closer than it was, and I feel like that injury to Cam Scatterbo, thoughts and prayers for him. Man, I hope he has a really quick recovery, because I really like the way the guy plays. I thought it was going to be a closer game because it was going to be an emotional game, and both teams are going to be trying to do their best to stop each other. But to me, it looked more like a coin flip. But that injury totally, I feel like, took the wind out of their sails, and not having Cam Scatterbo out there and coming up with some of these big runs, or even the short yard runs where he's just dropping the head and just like, just taking people out, fires a sideline up. And without that, they kind of felt maybe a little flat. Maybe they were a little bit distraught of what they saw, because that was a gruesome injury. Let's be real. A dislocated ankle always looks rough. But, yeah, I think the Giants are gonna play very, very well this week. The 49ers, though, on the other hand, have been dealing with adversity all year. They've come away with some big wins, hence the 5-3 record, where a lot of people, including myself at times, were like, oh man, this is definitely too much. They can't overcome that. Freaking Fred Warner's out. How are they gonna freaking do anything? You know what I mean? And they come away with a win. Last week, I picked against them, if I'm not mistaken, and they bit me in the butt. Or maybe it was the week before. I can't remember off the top of my head. But either way, I think it's going to be a good game. It's in New York, but I think that the ability to overcome adversity is a skill set that is more developed with the 49ers than the Giants. right? So they're still working on that. And so I think that it's going to be a closer game, closer than people will admit. Jackson Dart will do a great job. He'll still look good. But I just think that the 49ers are going to win here with the experience of what it takes to win when you are facing such adversity. So give me the 49ers in a close game, say a one-score game, 24-17, 49ers. Next, we got the game that is going to keep on giving, because I feel like this game is a lot of people's, is a game that before the season, people would have been like, oh man, this is going to be an easy walk-off win for the Steelers. And now, as we've seen the Steelers be a tremendously flawed team, their secondaries is basically all hype and just old men at this point. You know, big play Slay isn't big play anymore. He's more like slow play Slay. And Jalen Ramsey is just a shell of himself, you know? Like, how do you go and do the fake hamstring injury, gritty, and then go pull your hamstring in the same game? Man, karma is a B. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be an interesting game. Their Steelers should be a lot healthier than they have been at times, but the Colts are running, and they got the best, one of, if not the best game and the best player in football right now in Jonathan Taylor. So their defense is playing lights out. They have one of my favorite players in Cam Bynum over there, so he's doing great. They've had some stumbles. They did have one. They lost one game there, and maybe it's a little bit more self-induced, or maybe the other team came out and took it from them. But and then we got the Steelers that have a lot to prove, because if they go ahead and lose this game, will the calls to fire everybody start really taking hold, and a lot of the doubt is going to start seeping in. So this is a must win for them. And the Colts are riding high, and they are riding the wave of their success right now that is very much well deserved. That's why they are the number one team on my power rankings. You know, it is what it is. I think that the Colts are just going to be too much. They're a younger team, a faster team. And Daniel Jones has definitely, you know, his change of perspective after being in our quarterback room and watching KOC and our quarterbacks work last year has totally changed who he is and his perspective. Now, all we need to see is, has he fixed the confidence issues and the things that plague him in the postseason? So we don't know. Maybe his regular season is fixed, and maybe there wasn't much to be fixed, because he did have some really good regular seasons with the Giants, right? So still the jury is out on if he has really turned the corner as a quarterback. We will see in the playoffs, because there's no doubt at this point, I feel like they're a shoe-in for the playoffs. So give me the Colts in a one-sided victory, 34-21. Moving on to the Chargers and Titans. All right, Chargers in a big no, I'm joking. We're going to give every team the due diligence and respect that they deserve. Now, the Chargers are coming off a big win. You know, they needed a tune-me-up game, and our Minnesota Vikings definitely gave it to them. They are riding high, and they're going to try to use that momentum and move forward. They got another tune-up game in this week against the Titans. Despite all the injuries, they are getting healthier week to week here, so they're going to start looking more like the team that we saw start off 3-0. So, you know, it is what it is when it comes to the Chargers. They're a very good coach team, and they're doing really well right now. And when we look at the Titans, it's a bit of the opposite. You know, they're a bit of a mystery at the coaching position. They're struggling here at times. I really like Cam Ward. I'm definitely willing to give him a pass because of all the stuff that's going on with his coaching, with the quarterback rooms. He needs a regime change, so I'm willing to give him a pass until that happens. But what I do like about Cam Ward is that he's got some fight in him. When he came out and called out on his team and called him trash, that's the type of leadership that I'm used to when it comes to being part of the MJ era. So I like what he has. I love the way he throws a really nice ball. And so there's a lot of upside to him, except for he's just not being led the right way. And once he gets a good coaching staff a good offensive-minded coach, quarterback room, I think that we're going to see some good things from him because the intangibles are there, the skills there is just the execution because of maybe preparation or the coaching or philosophy, whatever is just off. And so, it sucks to see because I really wanted to see him do well. And there's not much other things that we can kind of praise. Their defense does, is a little bit gritty at times. They can come up with some plays. There's some dogs on that team, and they're willing to fight. And I like to see that. I like to root for the underdogs, and I like to pick them when I can. But I live and die by the probability sword, and I have to pick the Chargers here in a big win. Let's go 27-9. Moving on to Sunday's 4 o'clock games. We got the Saints making a quarterback change, moving into the Tyler Show era. The Rams coming off a bye, and Matthew Stafford is going to be definitely revitalized. So it's going to be a big game regardless. I think the Saints fans are going to be in a similar situation to us Vikings fans where we're just going to be looking for things that kind of give us some hope for the future, some flashes, some good things. I know there's going to be a lot of bad things. And at the end of the day, if they can put enough good things together, I think that fan base is going to start feeling a lot more optimistic for the future, right? And then we got the LA Rams. They are humming right now. They're 5-2. Their interior pass rush is one of the best in the league. They got a heck of a receiver in Puka Nacua. I didn't check to see if he's back yet, and if he's back, that's going to be even harder for them, for the Saints, that is. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting, a lopsided game here. And yeah, let's give me the Rams in a 2-score game. Let's go 27-14 Rams. Jaguars versus the Raiders. Ooh, this is a good one. This is a good one, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the Jaguars are in the midst of a regime change in themselves. They've moved on to the Mike Shanahan style or football tree with Liam Cohen as their as their head coach. We've seen a lot of good things. When I watch them play, a lot of their things remind me of what our Vikings do, what the Rams do, what the 49ers do. And I see the potential there. It's just a thing of they're still learning, and what they don't know, is sometimes getting the better of them, some undisciplined play at times. But when things, are humming on all cylinders, they look like a pretty darn good team. They beat the Chiefs on Monday night, and both the Jaguars and the Raiders are coming off a bye this week, so they're going to be both refreshed and hungry for a win. The added preparation, I don't think is going to be a massive factor for the Jaguars, like it might be for the Raiders, because they're going to have a little bit of extra time to game plan, as well as start trying to iron out some of the issues that they're having with their O-line. I know they're suffering some injuries to their left tackle and whatnot, and some of their offensive linemen have not panned out. The picks that they've had over the last couple of years and haven't been playing up to the standard that they'd hope they will. And so that's a big factor, because Geno Smith is a guy that needs a little bit of time. And when he's rushed through his reads, he can't operate at the highest level that he can, like we saw in Seattle. Now, I'm a big fan of Alshon Jenti. And, this is a type of game where, man, when you start calculating probabilities here, I feel like at some points I come up with the Jaguars having, a slight lead probabilities way, but then I start thinking about things with the Raiders and how they're still very hungry to prove that they've got a lot more potential and a lot of talent going forward. So they're a team to be reckoned with in the future, right? So when you got that kind of fight in you and you want to prove, a lot of good things can happen. So the more I look at it, the more I feel like this is going to be more of a coin flip than I actually anticipated going into this. I thought easily I might pick the Jaguars and just kind of move on because it's the easy pick. But then I start looking into things. The struggles that the Jaguars are having versus the strengths that the Raiders have. And I'm like, ooh, man, could this be the game, another breakout game for Alshon? Could he, put up a ton of all-purpose yards or even just straight rushing yards, maybe come up with a couple touchdowns, really alleviate the pressure off Geno, give him more time in the pocket because they're just more worried about the run than they are the pass. I don't know. There's a lot of different aspects here. The Jaguars have looked rough at times, and I'm like, is their offense going to struggle the same way? And as a result, are the Raiders going to be able to stay in it? There's so many factors that play here. And so when I have these type of games, I like to take the chance and kind of listen to my intuition on this one. And because I feel like it's a coin flip, I'm going to try to go for the upset here. I'm going to pick the Raiders in the upset. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if the Jaguars were able to win this and the Chiefs just come, the Raiders just come up a little bit short. But regardless of how this game plays out, I think it's going to be a lot closer than a lot of people want to give credit to. And I think it's because the Raiders are just a better team than people believe they are. It's just they just haven't been able to put things together. And maybe coming out of a bye week, we're going to see maybe the best version of them before they start regressing or things start not going their way, right? So I'm going to look at it this way and kind of just look optimistically of what can happen for both sides. And I'm going to take the Raiders in a close 3-point win, 24-21. Next, we got Sunday night. Oh, no, this is not Sunday. I thought Chiefs-Bills was Sunday night. Did they flex? Either way, we got Chiefs-Bills. Ooh, this is going to be a good game, guys. We got the Chiefs that are definitely elevating week to week. They're trying to put that early season skid in the rearview mirror. But like I've been saying, I feel like this year they're going to be looking the most beatable, and they have looked like that at times. There's times when they've struggled, and then they just do what they do and bring things back, and that's why they are 5-3. The Bills, on the other hand, they're coming off a bye week, and no, they're not coming off a bye week if I'm not mistaken. Either way, I'm mistaken there. I'm pretty sure. But anyways, regardless, the Bills are looking to kind of rewrite the narrative that they got right now. You know, people say they can't stop the run, and if all you're going to look to outscore people, then you're basically don't got much going for you. They're 5-2 for a reason, because they are the modern day current prolific offense, and they've been doing it for a long time. And Josh Allen, when he's on, when James Cook is on, and their receivers are doing great, that offense is almost unstoppable, right? The Chiefs have a great defense. And the thing is, can the Bills not maybe shut down the run, but make it so that the running game isn't a massive factor? You know, just look competent on run defense, right? If they're able to do that, I think they're going to run away with this one. I think that's as good as the Chiefs have looked at time. I don't know if they have the capability to boat race anybody, and I think the Bills definitely do. With all that being said, I'm going to take the Bills here in a close win, a high-scoring game. Give me 34 Bills, Chiefs 27. Moving on to the Sunday night football game, Seahawks versus Commanders. Now, from what I understand, there's a lot of rumblings that Jaden Daniels might start on this one, so we're going to have to see. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that. Oh, man. I didn't add that to. I missed 2 picks for. Oh, either way, I gotta get some more picks over to my guy here, the host. But anyways, let's do a live reaction here, live commentary on this one. Seahawks, they're looking good. You know, JSN is one of the best players in football right now. Sam Darnold is doing really good in the regular season, which we know he can do. Commanders, they've had an up and down season. Injuries have plagued them a little bit. Jaden Daniels has looked good, and they've also had some mistakes that have cost them games as well. But if Jaden Daniels comes out and he's fully healthy, and I don't know if he's going to be. He's the type of running athletic quarterback that uses his scrambling to set up the run instead of running like Lamar does. So I think his full repertoire is going to be open, unlike with Lamar this week. So I think it's going to be a lot closer game. I think it's going to be a bit of a shootout. And yeah, I like what's going on with the Seahawks. I like what they're doing on defense at times here, and their O-line giving more than enough time to Sam. The Commanders, regardless, they've shown a lot of good things as well. Their record doesn't reflect how good this team is, and injuries play a massive factor to that. And as a result, I'm going to go ahead. Give me the Seahawks 27-24. Ooh, that's going to be a close game. But I really wanted my bias and my love for Jaden Daniel to override there and say the Commanders, but I can't do it. I live and die by the sort of probabilities, and it's just more probable to me that the Seahawks are going to win this one. Moving on to Monday Night Football, we got the Cardinals versus the Cowboys. Ooh. If Kyler Murray's out there, it might be a rough one. If Jacoby Brissett is out there, they might have a chance. But as good as the Cardinals' defense has looked, I don't know if they have the ability to stop the Cowboys' offense like a really, really good defense like the Broncos did last week. The Cowboys are a dumpster fire on defense. They can't stop anything. I'm pretty sure that I could literally go out there and run on them for at least 70 yards. And that's something. That says a lot about this defense. I'm pretty sure that I could route up just about any one of their quarters. I'm literally that sure because that defense is so bad. And but I just don't know how many points, even if that Cardinals defense doesn't allow them to to blow the top off. Can they let them score? Can they keep them to less than 17 points? Because for them to beat them, they're going to have to win something like 20-17, 21-17, 17-14, a very defensive, boring game. I just don't see that happening. I think that as good as that defense is at holding them to not blowing them out, I still think that this Cowboys defense is still good for at least 24 points. The Cardinals might be able to put up a good amount of points, 17 points maybe, 14 more likely. So I'm just going to have to take the Cowboys in here and take the Cowboys 24-17. And there you have it, guys. That is the weekly picks for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed the rundown that I gave you guys on these teams. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe as we are on the road to 500 subscribers. I want to be there for the end of the calendar year, God willing, for sure. If not, it'll happen when it happens, and if it doesn't, who cares? At the end of the day, we just have fun here on this channel, trying to bring some optimism, some positivity, and because of me not being in a traditional 9-to-5 like I am, I don't have that fun that I used to have, talking football with my coworkers. So this is another way for me to be able to get that out, right? So I thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I will see you guys on the upcoming live here when we go over the Minnesota Vikings versus the Detroit Lions and doing a nice preview here. I've gotten some of the research done. I still have a little bit more. I like to be as informed as possible when I give you guys my previews. So look forward to that. I hope to be going back live somewhere around 7 or 8 tonight. Or maybe not, actually. It might be around 6 because I have to watch the Thursday night game because I have to get a good viewing of it to make some good analysis for the Real to Sports podcast. So don't forget to check me out on the Real to Sports podcast every Saturday or whichever Saturday that I'm invited on. If not, just go to and check it out. The Real to Sports podcast is a bunch of good guys, good football talk, as well as a bunch of joshing and trash talking each other, all in good fun. And man, it gets really fun. Ooh, I can't wait to go this week. Oh, I don't know if Wall Street's going to be there, but if he is, oh man, I can't wait to bust out my Stephen A. Smith impression. Ooh, what can go wrong will go wrong, ladies and gentlemen. And that's the Dallas Cowboys. But I hope you guys had so what's going on, buddy? Oh man, Lefty, Frickin' Eric, SKOL Vikings, Minnesota News fans, In the Zone podcast. My guys, man, thank you so much. Hey, and I do apologize for everybody. I haven't been as active this week. I've been work's kind of picked up a little bit. Been getting more clients, as well as I've been there's been a bunch of events that my church has been putting on over the last couple of weeks, and I've just been I like to volunteer at those things, so I do apologize. It's not that I don't want to watch your videos, I just haven't had the time. And when I do get the time, you can definitely guarantee that I'm going to be binge watching a lot of these things. I'm still definitely getting caught up in watching your shorts, though. So that I do have times, especially when I'm in the middle of things or waiting for things to happen, when I'm waiting for, cleanup and picking up all the chairs and whatnot. So I thank you so much, and everybody, for joining me on the Purple and Gold's Bar Show. I love every single one of you guys, and I want the best for you and your team, unless your team is facing my team. And in that case, I just don't want no injuries, and I want you guys to suck, okay? So thank you so much, guys. I'll catch you guys here in the upcoming live, roughly around 6 p.m., going over Lions versus Vikings. Have a good one, guys.